The Objective News Network, a new housing crisis in the making? Hello, this is John Hnatio reporting for the Objective News Network. President Biden has just announced a plan to subsidize people with lower incomes, lower credit scores, and less savings for down payments in order to spur home ownership. The new rules from the Federal Housing Finance Agency, or FHFA, took effect on May 1st, where borrowers with lower credit ratings and less money for a down payment will qualify for better mortgage rates than they otherwise would have, while those with higher ratings will pay the increased fees to pay for it. It appears to be a sort of modern-day Robin Hood story with several twists. Instead of stealing from the rich, Robin looks like a marauder, stealing from an already overtaxed middle class, still reeling from inflation and the COVID-19 pandemic and so much more, to give what they have already earned back to Uncle Sam. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are federal housing loan institutions that are directly under the control of the executive branch and President Biden, where changes in policy can be made under the rulemaking process without new legislation from Congress. Fannie Mae is the nickname given to the Federal National Mortgage Association, or FNMA. This enterprise is sponsored by the federal government. It originated as part of the New Deal back during the Great Depression, with the purpose of providing local banks with finances they needed to help facilitate home mortgages. Known as the brother of Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac is the nickname given to the Federal Home Loan Mortgage Corporation, or FHLMC. The new program being implemented by the Biden administration will place another new tax on people who have already worked so hard and sacrificed to own their own homes. These folks, like you, have worked hard to earn high credit scores and sacrificed to save the traditional 20% down payment to buy a home. Now you are being forced by your own government to offset the risk associated with mortgage defaults by lower income earners with lower credit scores who haven't saved the money to make a reasonable down payment on a home. Simply put, this means that those of us who have all played by the rules of the mortgage industry game all of our lives and sacrificed to save our money to reach a reasonable threshold of between 15 to 20% for a down payment, and those of us who have paid our bills to achieve high credit scores, we will now have to pay a brand new tax to the government to subsidize higher risk mortgages. The White House tells us that the new tax will be used to underwrite the additional financial risk of people who haven't saved the money for a reasonable down payment on a house and have a history of not paying their bills. But the rules of simple logic show us that the new rules penalize productive workers in our society who played by the rules while rewarding those who haven't saved for a home and haven't paid their bills. A kind of forced redistribution of wealth from the more productive members of our society to less productive ones. Along with this new socialist overreaching comes a radical departure from the very principles of our Constitution. In the real world, people must work to support the society they live in, not simply take the property of others. greater and greater disregard for the Constitution and its principles, attacks against free speech, violence, and disorder in many of our city streets, and the rise of a different type of woke culture that rejects the fundamental things that the majority of citizens in the United States believe in. The very same principles that have served American history and our success as a people so very well are now coming under attack by a minority of people who have decided to opt out of the American system in favor of a new type of culture that simply pursues everything it wants at the expense of everyone else. It is what it is for May 6, 2023. This is John Hnatio reporting for the Objective News Network. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you the next time.